Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on our YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and this is the show where we sit around as a bunch of friends and talk about the things that you and I love. Movies and movie news, TV and streaming, those things that give us joy. I'm joined in the studio today by our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
Hello, everybody. Good morning.
Writer, director, producer, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett.
Apparently I can't spell, though, John.
Do you want to share that story? What happened?
Yes, I'm working on the billing block for the True Noir physical media release, and I misspelled actor David Strathairn's last name. I missed an A. And, of course, it was going to the printer. I effed up. One of my biggest actors, incredible privilege to work with him. He's amazing.
He looks disappointed in you.
He's totally disappointed.
Look at him. He's judging you right
me.
now.
I can't believe.
For misspelling his name.
You know, in a billing block. You know how many letters are in a billing block? And I misspelled my big actor's name.
Well, you caught it. At least you caught it.
Caught it, yes.
That's
it did
the
not go
important
to the printer yet.
And most importantly, of course, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our show part of your day. And here's how our show is going to go. We're going to start out by talking about a few predetermined topics we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of our show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. Now, you guys already filled up all the live comments and questions. I have already turned off the super chats. You guys filled up the super chats before the show even started. So if you've got comments and questions, save them till tomorrow. We'll open up the super chats again tomorrow. But the second part of the show is when we'll take those live questions you guys sent in. All right. With all that down, guys, let's get things started with this. If there was ever a model, like a goal, a representation of how to perfectly and smoothly run an organization, it is that, of course, of the brand new Paramount, which of course, I'm being facetious. The Ellisons over there at Paramount are taking a lauded, traditional, iconic name in entertainment, Paramount, and they're completely mismanaging it. When they have a lot of potential to do some really good things there. I still believe they do. I really do. But right now, they're completely dropping the ball by, instead of turning their focus on how do we make Paramount this amazing, iconic, top of the line Hollywood production studio again, and instead worried about how do we sue the owners of Warner Brothers, and how do we do this and how do we do that? Oh, and how do we turn Paramount Plus into TikTok? Well, I'm not making that up. That's the newest thing from leaked memos of what the new direction of the company is going to be under the Ellisons. This comes to us from Media Week. All right, Project Eagle, the TikTokification of TV. Start with the latest plot twist. David Ellison continues to force a $30 per share all-cash buyout on the Warner Brothers Discovery Board. Meanwhile, leaked internal docs reveal that his quote-unquote tech-forward vision for Paramount Plus likens that unto TikTok. Executives call the initiative Project Eagle. It aims to flood Paramount Plus with short-form user-generated content, with the brand new acronym we might as well start getting used to in entertainment, UGCs, user-generated content. Business Insider reports that leadership wants 1 million clips on the platform. Now, some of you may be aware that David Ellison's daddy, Larry Ellison, just recently purchased a big chunk of TikTok. And apparently they think the way to bring Paramount Studios back to its lauded and rightful position is to fill Paramount Plus with user-generated short-form TikTok videos.
Man, Bob Evans would never approve of this.
He would not.
Let me just tell you what Charlie Bluetoad would have done.
I said, Bubby. We can't do that, Bubby. Look, I almost feel like this is made up, but it's not. I double checked. I mean, I went to all the sources and everything like that. This is starting to feel like a satire unto itself. You remember, what was that? Silicon Valley? Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
The show?
That was a great show.
The guy who was the head of the company, right? Was just such a boob. Like everything he would do would be wrong. That to me right now is David Ellison trying to run Paramount. And
So,
again, I still believe he's got all the opportunity and chances in the world ahead to turn Paramount around. I still do. I'm saying right now he's acting like a boob.
Here's my question, John. Paramount is a signatory to the guilds, the WGA, the DGA, SAG, AFTRA. So does that mean if you're going to start creating TikTok videos, UGC, first of all, we should start a UGC guild, get in on that, and make sure that the UGC guild that we are going to start becomes a signatory to all the studios. And then we should team up with the WGA, the DGA, and make sure that all user-generated content on their platform is subject to guild rules. Because I don't want to work longer than a 12-hour day. I don't want to work 30 miles away from wherever the hell that we're based. And I want to make sure that we're all treated fairly and paid correctly. And that means we get residuals. So far, we have to have a whole new residual structure about how many views we get on the platform. So I'm sure they're thinking about those things right away.
Well, yeah, but of course such a thing would never come into existence. You would never be able to create
We can
such a
start
thing.
it. I mean, there wasn't always a Screen Actors
You would
Guild.
literally have to sign up and get to sign up for it. Every person on the planet who creates short videos.
Exactly.
But also now you got this damn Wizard of Oz song stuck in my head. We represent the UGC
Lollipop
Guild.
Guild.
And not only
Let's
that,
not get sidetracked.
Not only that, we'll make TikTok videos asking all creators to sign up with us.
Yeah,
On
they
the
will.
John Campea Show. No, they will, because we're going to promise them WGA, healthcare, SAG. Oh, it's going to be great.
Oh, that's
Well,
like
let's-
Scott's Tots. A lot of promises.
Let's get back to the topic at hand, though, here.
It is the topic at hand.
Is just the fact of them wanting to, their vision for this is just, hey, you know what? I've got a teenage kid. He's always on the TikToks. He's always on the tickety-tocketies. Well, we should make Paramount into the tickety-tocketies. Now, listen, to be fair for the Ellisons, this isn't the first time we've heard something like this. Some of you guys might remember a couple of months back, we covered a story where Disney was going to allow the licensing of some of their characters for on-platform AI generation storytelling that users were generating. And we thought that was ridiculous. This is going even further than that. It's like, look, am I saying that David Ellison is incorrect in saying that short form social media shareable video user generated content is popular? Well, of course he's not wrong. It absolutely is. You know what else is popular? Chicken McNuggets. I don't think Paramount should open a fucking drive-through on their gates on Santa Monica Boulevard. Although I might visit it more often.
They may.
I could make better Star Trek TikTok videos than the show they're currently airing.
I have no doubt. But there's several places, dominant places. Do you think for 1 second the kiddies are going to start going, Instagram Reels is good for this stuff. TikTok is good for this stuff, although TikTok now under Ellison is having some problems. But this isn't the time or the place to talk about that. There's all these other platforms. But darn it, let's go to Paramount Plus to get our little TikTok short video. It's not what you are. And I'm all for diversification, but there's also something about understanding the identity of what you are. You are a narrative storytelling company. You aren't the short form video TikTok. You aren't a social media feed. You are a legendary Hollywood iconic company that makes a completely different kind of content. Jonathan, you were going to say something?
Well, okay. What was the streaming app where it was like, I'm probably getting the amount wrong, but it was like 5-minute versions of movies or
Quibi.
Remember
okay,
that worked really well.
It reminds me.
Yeah, how'd that go?
So it reminds me of this. You're trying to force, a square peg into a round hole. It's like you're trying to force the issue of like, this is the future. This is what people want. So they'll come to Paramount Plus and pay for Paramount Plus and do that here. We're going to force that kind of content. It has to be natural. It's
But
gotta
at
be organic.
least with Quibi, it was Kevin Hart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It was,
paid people.
they actually got professional entertainers, filmmakers, producers to create
the future.
this short content. And of course, we all saw how that went. It died a horrible flaming death. This is them literally saying, hey, come on to Paramount and you create some 30-second thing about how funny your cat looks. I mean, is this what Paramount?
This was a board meeting where someone said we've got to really break the ice here with the Ellisons. We've got to think so far out of the box. We've got to be so drastic. They think this is so crazy it might just work. And man, but they probably should have just kept quiet.
There are, there's now all that vertical content that they're making, dramatic content or soap opera content that's like a minute long, and I get sucked into those things. I could see them doing that covered under guild rules. But having user-generated content that you're going to how are they going to work that? Are they going to pay people?
No.
They can't. You can't be Paramount Plus and just get free content and put it up.
Paramount
Sure
Plus
they can.
would
Watch it.
actually own the content.
I know, but in terms of what they're doing, people are going to be like, you're Paramount.
Yeah,
it's one thing.
They'll set it up the way every other
they'll
outlet
take
does.
ownership.
So they'll have a thing where you come once you create a minimum of 40 clips and get 1,000 collective
Sure,
views,
but
you can sign into our revenue share. And then what they'll do is they'll share a portion of the advertising revenue they get for the short content with the creators. That's the great theory, but nobody other than YouTube has been able to make that work yet. So
No.
I mean,
Although Facebook, I get money from Facebook for my Instagram reels.
yeah,
but you also have to
compared
pay for Paramount Plus too. It's like
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. There, if you're paying for the service, if you have to pay for Paramount, again, how do guild rules fit into that?
But I'm not so, listen, for me personally, I'm not so sidetracked by the logistics of how you make it work, blah, blah. I'm just completely stuck on the first bump. This is not Paramount's business.
That's what I mean.
What are you doing? Everything the Ellisons and their boob crew have done from the moment they've taken over has been shiny keys. Look over here. Look over here. They become totally distracted by things that are not core to what it is that can reshape and rebuild Paramount. And again, this to me makes Ellison look like a college bro who has never matured past the age of 14, who's, I hear the kiddies like the shorts. Let's change Paramount to shorts. Who the fuck's going to take you seriously once you start doing that? And again, I want to be fair to them in the sense that I want to peg all of this on them. Like we said, we covered this a few months ago. Disney's kind of dipped their toe in this too, and others may as well. I just think like, oh my God, you are completely different. You are not a social media network. You're Paramount.
Yet.
Act like it. Anyway, so it just makes me frustrated.
Oh,
No,
frustrated.
I agree. Look, everyone, we live in a new world. User-generated content has become the dominant content on the planet Earth. And I can understand everybody wanting to get a part of that.
Yeah.
But why not put the Paramount, if they're going to do something like that, why not? I mean, I guess it's not user-generated anymore. They make it official. They try to do it officially. You're going to get Quibi, and it's not going to work anymore. But
yeah, here's the problem too is, okay, they want to make it like TikTok. Well, his father literally just purchased TikTok. So focus on TikTok.
right. Yeah.
Or is Larry Ellison's big plan? This is brilliant. We're going to merge in TikTok with Paramount Plus.
So what would happen if they had purchased Warner Brothers? Then bye-bye HBO?
I mean, who knows? Who knows? Again, this is just yet another sign of Ellison having his eyes on the completely wrong thing. And this guy clearly doesn't have a sweet lick of a clue. And look, I say that, yet I still have it in my head that he has the opportunity to turn this around. We're not too far down the road. They can still do good things with Paramount, but I am losing faith in this clown by the minute. By the minute, I'm losing faith in this clown. And it frustrates me because I'm the idiot who, when he was first stepping in to buy Paramount, I'm the moron who's like, this could be really good. This guy's truly a movie fan. He's got some neat ideas. I think this is going to be good. And I'm like, yay, Paramount. And he's just been doing nothing but making everybody who has supported him look like a fool. Count me one of them. And it's frustrating.
They should give Walter Hamada more money so he can put out a horror film a month, because I love Primate.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Have you been, every time you've opened Paramount Plus, said, you know what this thing really needs? You know what it really needs? A quick 30-second clip of a husband pulling scary pranks on his wife. That's what Paramount Plus needs. I don't know. Whatever you guys think about all this, jump down into the comment section below.
It's better than Star Trek.
Let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, every day, once I'm just about wrapped up with the show notes, I jump on our community tab on the YouTube channel, usually a few hours before the show starts, and I ask the community, I say, hey, we're just putting together the last notes. Do you guys have anything you want to see us talk about? And one of our users suggested this. They said, well, you know what? Now that Wonder Man has come and gone, it would be nice to hear how you guys would rank the live action MCU series. And I thought, you know what? That's a good, I don't think we've done that in like at least 4 or 5 Disney Plus shows.
Does Daredevil Born Again count?
It absolutely counts.
Okay.
100%. It's in the MCU now. So I thought that was a really neat idea now that we have Wonder Man to put into the list. So we're going to go down and give our list from worst to best. I'll start things off of the MCU Disney Plus shows. Now, before I start any list, remember, this is all subjective. Certain shows will hit you in a better way than they hit me and vice versa. Nobody's list is going to be absolutely identical to each other, so your list is going to look different than mine. I simply present to you my list as a conversation starter. So let's get things going here, shall we? We're going to start off all the way down at the bottom because I believe there have been a dozen live action MCU Disney Plus series so far. And we're going to go down and start with the worst of the worst. I got to start with Secret Invasion. Down there at the bottom at number 12. Man, was I excited.
Me too.
And you know, we often talk about, I say this a lot. I have over my career read a lot of scripts before the movies have come out and thought that looks really good. And then the movie comes out and the execution just wrecked it. I read a lot of Secret Invasion before it came out.
Oh, I remember you guys got me hyped on it.
Yeah.
And it read very well.
Yeah.
It did not play very well. And they ended up absolutely, first of all, they threw logic out the window, even Marvel logic.
Yeah.
They just threw out the window. And it was just an unmitigated mess from start to finish that by the end, you're like, why did they even make this show? And how is the universe itself changed really
Yeah.
from the beginning of the show till now, other than the fact that we got some superhero god who has a Kia,
Which we haven't heard of
The
since.
Super Skrull.
Quibi, whatever her
Quibi.
name is. It's like, oh, I just now have every superpower. That's not how science works.
Project Eagle. She got it from,
Project Eagle. So, I mean, anyway, it was just horrendous from start to finish. So at number 12 for me, Gaia, as Mark Wells points out, Gaia or Gia, however you pronounce her name. She was terrible. They'll never mention her again. In the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they will never mention that character
And I liked
again.
the Skrulls for a while before the show.
I liked them in Captain
I
Marvel.
love them in Captain Marvel. What
Yeah.
they did with them in... Jeez, so bad. Anyway,
Nerfed that.
that's at number 12. I'll go through these a little bit faster. At number 11, a show that started strong. Good first episode. That's actually a theme with a lot of these Marvel shows. Good, solid first episode that gave me a lot of hope. But then all the wheels just came off. She-Hulk. Oh, She-Hulk. I mean, the premise was so great. Ally McBeal in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It writes itself. It's so perfect. And yet, as a courtroom comedy in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they failed at it being a courtroom show and they failed at it being a comedy. It's number one sin to me because there's nothing more painful to watch than a person or a show or a comedian or a movie that really thinks it's being funny and it's really not.
Just look at me.
Or any of us in this room. You cannot you can do a lot of things wrong, but you cannot be a comedy and completely fall on your face and trying to be funny.
It was different tones too. You couldn't keep up with it.
I mean, it never really, I never got the sense that this show even knew what it was. But if it was funny, we would have forgiven all of it. And
The writers had no idea what it was.
No, they had no idea. So
I do.
I got She-Hulk at number 11. At number 10, I admit this is one unlike She-Hulk and unlike Secret Invasion, I didn't have a lot of hope for. And it kind of delivered exactly what I thought, Echo. Echo, again, is a show that from episode to episode, it seemed to change what its thematic direction was. By the end of it, I still didn't really know what the whole purpose of the thing was. They did some really strange things with Kingpin. And now, look, I'm not going to say it didn't have its moments. Echo had its moments. It really did. But overall, missed opportunity. So at number 10, Echo. At number 9, another one that started strong. Moon Knight. I really liked the first episode of Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Look good too.
I really liked it. By the way, I just remembered a show I forgot to put on the list. I'll get back to it in a second.
Ironheart.
Yeah, I did. I forgot to put Ironheart on the list, but we'll get to that in a minute. Moon Knight was one that started strong, great themes, terrific performances, but it started to meander. It's like, what? Why is he doing this? And even for me, it came down to the last episode, Rob. I remember going into the final episode, I'm like, look, right now I'm really on the fence on this show. They had a couple episodes were bangers. Couple of them were just a waste. And I remember going into the finale going, this is going to decide for me whether I ultimately liked this show or didn't like this show. And the finale was a miss. And I ended up not liking the show.
It really forced the issue on it too. It was like, how can I like this?
Oh yeah. Now I didn't hate it,
Mm-hmm.
but
I did.
I was pretty disappointed with it. So I got Moon Knight there. Next up, also had its moments.
For sure.
I will always love the Tracksuit Mafia. I love them. But Hawkeye.
Bro.
I got Hawkeye down at number 8. Listen, a good intro for Kate Bishop. Some of the action sequences were pretty good. There was even some really good, there was a few little elements of good mystery. This is a show that had some stuff going for it. Now, I love the Hawkeye character, but I just kind of ended this one a little bit disappointed with it.
Yep.
I thought it could have been better. Again, not so much where it's like, well, that was a waste of my time watching it. No. But I was
the LARPing
disappointed.
episode was a waste of our time.
Oh my, yeah, that one was like, what are you doing? What are we doing here? But anyway, so I got Hawkeye at number 8. At number 7, now we're turning the corner into shows that I basically kind of enjoyed. At number 7, I got Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, this is a show that should have been better, but it was all carried by the fantastic chemistry between Sebastian Stan.
You shipped them.
What's that?
You shipped them.
Yeah,
You
I
shipped
ship them.
Yeah.
I ship them. And Anthony Mackie. I thought their chemistry was great, and it really carried the show for me. Again, some lowlights, but some highlights as well. Overall, and generally speaking, I liked Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I liked it. All right. Now we get down to number 6. And this one, I got to say, I quite enjoyed. Surprisingly so. Agatha All Along. This one surprised me. And I think it surprised a lot of people because the ratings were bonkers good on this. People kept viewing it. They showed week after week. The viewership went up and up and up and up. This was a charming, fun, funny, but also at its core, it had a really good mystery and some decent little twists. And Aubrey Plaza as Death was great. Could have been better. Could have had a little bit more of a solid story. Maybe could have gone down, explored a few more themes a little bit more. But overall, I thought Agatha All Along was pretty darn good. So I've got it in my number 6 spot. In my number 5 spot, the newest entry, Wonder Man. Just had a very good time with it, man. I mean, again, it slows down when you get into episodes 7 and 8. Although the finale had some really good stuff in it too. But the first 6 episodes were great. I loved it. I had such a good time. And again, totally built on the strength and the power of the insanely great chemistry between Yahya Abdul-Mateen and Sir Ben Kingsley. That's what carried it. And it worked for me on a lot of levels. So Wonder Man at number 5. At number 4, it may not be as good as its iteration when it was over at Netflix, but I thought Daredevil Born Again was pretty damn solid. Did they have a couple of weak moments? Yes. But Kingpin has never been more Kingpin. I mean, I really love this whole thing about, all right, I'm going to try for a minute to be a straight lace. F this. I'm going to start killing fools again. Oh my God, when he crushed that guy's head like a melon. It was just awesome. You know what? There's even this one episode that a lot of people who liked this series didn't like the episode. It was that one with the bank robbery. I think it might be my third or fourth favorite episode of the season. I actually really liked it.
I actually like that.
I did too.
I did too. I had a really good time with it. So anyway, not as good as the Netflix iteration, but worthy of the name Daredevil. I've got Daredevil Born Again at number 4. At number 3, I got Loki. Now, I will often speak a little bit more critically about Loki. And to be honest, the reason for that is Loki is my second favorite character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. My number 1 guy is Steve Rogers, but my number 2 favorite character in the MCU is Loki. And so I was hoping for better. It was still quite solid. I thought season 2 was an improvement on season 1. I thought it could have been better, but still good enough for me that I've got it up in the number 3 spot. All right. At number 2, Ms. Marvel. This is one I knew my wife was looking forward to, because my wife had been reading Ms. Marvel comics since the day they started. I had not really delved into them much, so I had the least amount of expectation going into it. I heard in advance there was going to be this John Hughes 80s style charm and all this kind of stuff. And right when the first episode ended, I knew I was hooked. I was completely enraptured and fell in love with this whole family, with Ms. Marvel's entire family, Kamala Khan and her dad. Oh my, the moment. Okay, look, I actually get emotional about it. When you know that their parents are trying their best and they love her so much, but they also have their rules and restrictions. When she walks in that one room and she realizes her dad dressed up and painted himself to look like the Hulk so she could go to the Avengers Con. And he was willing to humiliate himself and do something that was totally outside of his comfort zone. I so fell in love with this family. And when you fall in love with the characters, you fall in love with the show or the movie. And I just love this family. I love these characters. I love their dynamics. There's a sweetness and a charm and a fun to it that I just absolutely love. I love it more than most people, but I absolutely love Ms. Marvel. So I've got it at my number 2 spot.
And his dad was in that bank scene in Daredevil.
Yes. That's part of the reason why I think I like that episode so much,
yeah.
because Kamala's dad is in there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And that obviously leaves us with our number 1, Ironheart. No, I'm kidding. At number 1, WandaVision. It's the one that kicked it all off. It was a phenom. Like, I don't know if everybody remembers, but for 2 months straight, without exaggeration, 2 months straight, our whole show was dominated by WandaVision. Not by me, but by all of our viewers flooding in every single day theories and thoughts and opinions about WandaVision and where it's going. What does this represent? It just completely captivated everything. They've never been able to recapture that.
I'm still waiting. I'm sure Mephisto's actually in that show. We just don't know
where. And now, of course, we finally got Vision Quest coming. That's going to be a follow-up to WandaVision. I'm looking forward to that. But WandaVision remains to this day as their absolute gold standard. Like, not even Ms. Marvel really touches it. It remains their gold standard. And I can't wait to see Vision Quest. Now, of course, then there was Ironheart, which I thought was not a good show.
No.
I will not put it below Secret Invasion. I will not put it below She-Hulk. I will not put it below Echo. I'll put it just below Moon Knight. So I'll put it in my 4 spot from the bottom.
Between
number
Echo
4 spot. So not as bad as
Moon
Echo,
Knight.
not as bad as She-Hulk, certainly not as bad as Secret Invasion. But I'm going to put, despite that really great Mephisto appearance in the end, that was a great moment, but I'm going to have it down there because I didn't like it all that much. Anyway, so there's my list from bottom to top again. Secret Invasion, She-Hulk, Echo, Ironheart, Moon Knight, Hawkeye, Falcon Winter Soldier, Agatha All Along, Wonder Man, Daredevil Born Again, Loki, Ms. Marvel, and WandaVision. That is my list. Rob, what does yours look like?
I would keep that list, but for me, I would drop Moon Knight down right above Secret Invasion.
Oh, you just liked it that much.
I'm a huge Moon Knight fan. Moon Knight is the comic that got me back into reading comics back in 1980 when I was 13 years old, and it was a direct sale. It was one of the first 3 direct sale Marvel comics. It was Micronauts, Khazar, and Moon Knight, and I was blown away by Moon Knight. And they decided to go with an incarnation of the character that was a product of the 21st century. And with the schizophrenia stuff could have been done. I get that. But they could have also gone with the more romantic noir Batman version of Moon Knight, which is what I would have gone with. And I hated the fact that they brought Khonshu as a real god. They added the pantheon of Egyptian gods to the Marvel Universe. That was, again, another later addition to the Moon Knight mythology. And you literally have Egyptian gods battling over the pyramids of Giza in this show. And
Which
I'm like,
would sound amazing.
well, I
But
mean,
under these circumstances.
I mean, it was an extinction level event for the people of Cairo. I mean, there's people's souls getting
Right.
like eaten. I'm like,
I'm saying
what the
in its
hell?
own world, it would have been amazing.
Yeah, I'm just, what the
But-
hell is this? And I thought Oscar Isaac was good in the role. I just thought so that wasn't for me, And then I would put up Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I would put it. It's my second favorite Marvel show, so I would put it between Miss Marvel and between WandaVision.
So you got WandaVision 1, Falcon Winter Soldier
Yes.
2, Ms. Marvel 3.
Yes.
Interesting.
And those are the differences. And then we didn't bring up the one shots, Werewolf by Night.
Well, because
and-
those aren't series.
Yeah,
and
they're not-
the Guardians of the
But
Galaxy
I would put
Christmas
those way
special.
at the top too. I thought those were great efforts. I love them both. And like you, I'm very excited to see what Terry Matalas has done with Vision Quest. From what I understand, I'm sure I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, it was definitely going to be up there as my favorite Marvel show. Only because James Spader is one of my favorite actors. And I'm hoping it harks back to that conversation that Paul Bettany and James Spader have at the end of Ultron, where he says, well, I was born yesterday. That's a great, that relationship between Vision and Ultron is at the center of this new show. I can't wait to see it. And Terry's very deft with science fiction concepts. So I'm sure that's going to be a great show too.
Here's an interesting question. As I look down the list here, WandaVision, Ms. Marvel, Loki, Daredevil, Wonder Man, Agatha, Falcon, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, Ironheart, Echo, She-Hulk, and Secret Invasion. As of right now, only 2 of those have gotten season 2s. We've got season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. It's coming out in about a month and a half. And we had Loki season 2.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder, and they're saying there's no expectations for Wonder Man getting a second season. So it's like, are they going to treat these seasons as limited series events, or are they going to try to do more seasons?
You mentioned Hawkeye. Hawkeye's supposed to have a second season, right?
Yeah, I mean, they keep talking about it.
Yeah.
They keep talking about it. So
Also, I would imagine that Daredevil and Wonder Man are probably 2 of the cheaper shows to produce, because, can you imagine the budget on She-Hulk when you have to CG generate Jennifer Walters as She-Hulk?
Oh, that was not a cheap show.
No,
Yeah, that was not a cheap
not at
show,
all.
yeah.
And I would say that Wonder Man, look, and I'm not saying that Wonder Man was cheap to make, because but it just doesn't have the kind of visual effects that the other shows do. And I hope that Trevor Slattery relationship with, I loved that.
yeah, it was so good.
And that's what the core of that show is, not super heroics. It's
Did you have a
people.
chance to finish it yet?
Yeah, I watched the rest of it.
Oh, okay.
And I think I liked the series a little bit more than you did. It worked for me the last 2 episodes. I watched it last night, and I just really liked that. I just love them.
Yeah.
I don't care what the show's about. I just want to watch the 2 of them go on a cross-country odyssey, go on a European, to make that the motorcycle show with Charlie Borman and Ewan McGregor.
Yep.
I want to see that.
You know what I would watch? Remember how back in the movie talk days, every once in a while, like me, Schnepp, Dennis, Harloff, Ellis, we would just sit on a couch and watch a movie,
Right.
and just have the cameras on us, and we would just us talking through the movie. I would watch an entire series of Trevor Slattery and Simon sitting in a movie theater watching a classic movie and talking through the classic
like Mystery
movie.
Science Theater.
Yep.
That
You do that with those two characters, I'm totally in.
Well, maybe if they go back to Paramount, they could do a whole stream of TikTok videos with them.
Little tickety talks. Anyway, guys,
Disney's doing that too, so maybe you can get away with that.
question is for you. What do you think about this? How would you list the current running, well, not necessarily current running, but the live action Marvel series that they have had on Disney Plus? Remember, you can't count the special presentations like Werewolf by Night or the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, but how would you rank the ones that they've done so far? Whatever you guys would rank them, jump down to the comment section below and leave your rankings there.
Ironically, those are the better ones, though. The special engagements.
I don't think either one of them were as good as WandaVision.
No, but I'm just saying, like,
They're
rank
really
them-
good.
They
And we
rank
got a
over-
Punisher one coming. Too, don't
I've
forget.
got a question for you, John.
What's that?
Because he's part of the MCU, is Kevin Bacon going to play himself in Avengers Doomsday?
I would hope that he would.
That would be the greatest thing ever. If Kevin Bacon has a cameo
No,
appearance
is if we get him on Battle World. He's in.
What if he's the
Secret
Molecule
Wars.
Man? It's like
Because they're
it turns out the most powerful being in the universe is Kevin Bacon.
Well,
And he's
because
got-
like in Secret Wars, at least for like the original one from the 80s, there was like people from Phoenix got sucked in and they got powers.
Yeah,
so
that's right. They did.
he could get powers.
Kevin Bacon is the Beyonder.
make it happen.
You've heard it here first. 6 degrees of. There's also 6 realities, 6 multiverse realities of Kevin Bacon.
There you go.
He's the Beyonder. By
All
the way,
right.
I would watch the hell out of a Beyonder show starring Kevin
With
Bacon.
that down, guys, let's move on to our next segment here, shall we? We thought today would be a good day to play ourselves a little round of verses. A little bit earlier today, I jumped on our YouTube channel and I asked you guys to submit some head-to-head matchups that you'd like to see us have battle out in verses. You guys submitted a whole bunch of head-to-head matchups. Jonathan's got them picked out over there. So, Jonathan, what we got up first?
I do. And real quick, I just want to put this on your radar. You may already be aware of this, but something for tomorrow to discuss. But we got some casting for God of War, Mandy Patinkin as Odin.
I love Manny Patinkin.
So do I.
I think they should have actually got, what's his name, Schiff from West Wing, who played
Richard
Odin.
Schiff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Schiff. Like they literally modeled the character after him. I thought maybe they should have
Yeah.
gotten him, but anyway, I love Manny Patinkin. So we'll.
All right.
They also cast their Thor. Maybe we'll talk
Yes.
about those two things tomorrow.
Okay. So where are my buttons here? Okay, Rob, we're going to start with you.
Uh-oh.
Versus from Jasdeep Singh says Charlie Cox as Daredevil or Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool.
It's a good question, but I've got to go with Ryan Reynolds as Daredevil.
You
Only
mean as Deadpool?
did I say
You just
Ryan
blew my
Reynolds as
mind.
Daredevil? I have to go, let me correct myself, with Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, only because I think Charlie Cox is a great actor, and Charlie Cox does a great job of playing Daredevil. But I think Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool.
Yeah.
He just is Deadpool. And so he brings sort of, and the comedy of it. I mean, here's the thing. I like the fact that I believe in the verisimilitude of Charlie Cox as Daredevil. I don't need to have verisimilitude with Deadpool because he breaks the point of that character is to break the reality of it all. And I think that could be that in other people's hands, it wouldn't have worked. So that's what I'm going to go with.
Look,
Ryan Reynolds.
I've loved Charlie Cox ever since Stardust.
Oh, yeah.
In which he's in with Henry Cavill, by the way. So you got Daredevil and Superman in that movie together. But that movie's great. If you haven't seen Stardust, watch Stardust. Charlie Cox is awesome in. And Charlie Cox does a great job playing Daredevil. But as you said, Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool.
Yeah.
You know, there is a triumvirate of the 3 most iconic born to play this role in superhero movies. And that triumvirate, in no particular order, is Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, and Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. I mean, it just is. Ryan Reynolds defines the character. It's so, I mean, I love Charlie Cox's Daredevil. Absolutely. But yeah, I got to go with Rob on this. The winner of this one is Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. All right, what's next?
All right. Back over to you, John, in this versus from Drew Gretsch. Shrinking versus Ted Lasso. I think I already know where you're going. It's a tough one, though.
two of, if not the two best shows on Apple TV Plus. I mean, Ted Lasso is the show that literally put Apple TV Plus on the map.
It was a reason to get it.
Yeah. And then Shrinking came along. And I haven't watched the first episode of the new season yet. I'm still behind on that. I'm behind one episode. Ted Lasso is such a show of joy. But Shrinking, I can't remember the last time a show made me feel the way Shrinking makes me feel. You know, it is a mixture of great emotion. You're laughing your guts out one moment. The way my wife Ann described it just a couple of days ago to another friend of ours, you're laughing your guts out one moment and then crying your eyes out the next. And it keeps bouncing back and forth. It is one of the most cleverly written. Now listen, Ted Lasso is brilliant. I love it and I cannot wait for the return of it. But I'm going to go with Shrinking on this one. Rob, what about you?
I am going to have to go with you. You know, I was kind of late to the Shrinking game, and you know, people said it was good, and I think I watched the first episode. And I was like, all right, but then I went back to it, and I agree with you. I mean, Ted Lasso again. You know, it's kind of got this singular premise that really works for me about the character and his positivity, and I totally identify with that character, and I love his speech about being curious. Is one of my favorite things ever. You know, he's playing darts, and but Shrinking is a show that I agree with you. It takes you on an emotional journey that is not easy to do.
Yeah,
and so that's why I'm going to go with Shrinking. I'm going to go on, yes, with Shrinking.
Dude, I still remember. There's a number of movies and TV shows that will set up an emotional moment that you go, oh. I remember that one scene. I think it was last season, when Jason Segel is showing up at the restaurant and he looks in and he sees his best friend, his daughter, sitting down and having drinks with and laughing with the guy who killed his wife. And I just remember going, oh, like I almost couldn't sit still. Like I'm like, oh my God, like the way they set that stuff up and then make you laugh hilariously. All at the same time, it's just so good. Anyway, all right, what's next?
Okay, we're gonna go. I think it's back to Rob here. So Rob,
Yep.
who do you choose when we hear from Dean Talks Movies? Alan Rickman's Hans Gruber versus Alan Rickman's Snape.
Ooh.
I mean, one movie versus like seven, but
You know what? I got to go with Hans Gruber. I mean, Alan Rickman, no one really even knew who he was back then. And his performance in Die Hard, you know, they always say that the great villain is what makes a movie like this.
Yeah.
He is so good in that movie. That's not to say he's not good as Snape, but by the time he played Snape, Alan Rickman was Alan Rickman.
well established.
Yeah, well established. Whereas I'll never forget, I Die Hard, they put it in theaters for a public sneak a week before it officially opened.
That's cool.
And no, people were making fun of that movie. You know, it's like, great, Bruce Willis. Who cares? You know, what is this? And there was that ad that'll blow you through the back of the theater. And my friend Taylor and I went and saw it. And it was one of the most joyous movie-going experiences of my life, because people don't remember this, but it took like 10 minutes for the opening credits to finish, because you're watching the whole opening and you meet Argyle and Fists with Your Toes and the whole fucking California, you know, the whole thing. And Michael Kamen's score and the titles going, I was blown away by that movie, and he was amazing. Amazing. So I got to go with Alan Rickman's performance in Die Hard. It's one of the great villain performances of all time.
Look, when you're talking about Hans Gruber, any conversation about the top 10 greatest villains in movies ever, every conversation is going to involve Hans Gruber. Whether he's at number 2 or number 7 or wherever, he's going to be in the conversation. I'm actually going to go with Snape.
How dare you?
And I think the reason I'm going to go with Snape is the character itself allowed him to give a much more nuanced, layered, deep character. Because I mean, with Hans Gruber, which again, one of the top 10 villain performances of all time, Hans Gruber was very much the mustache twirling villain, and he was perfect
very
for
much
that story. Perfect. That's exactly what he should have been for that story. Whereas Snape, you think he's one thing, then you find out about this troubled past, and then you find out he's actually been on Harry's side this whole time, and yet then he actually has to be the one to kill Dumbledore, and then he actually, like, they just, it allows him to play this character and do it with such depth and such dimension. I'm Oh, I can't believe I'm going to say it, but I'm going to go with Alan Rickman as Snape.
For the good reasons.
I think
Yeah,
there's
good
literally
reasons.
tens of millions of people who would say, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
So don't feel bad about that.
Yeah, it's this. I think I'm in the minority.
Now,
on
what
that
they
one.
should have also done is included Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber, Alan Rickman as Snape, Alan Rickman as the Sheriff of Nottingham. It should have been a three-way battle there. 'Cause that would be another interesting discussion.
And the husband with the wandering eye in Love Actually.
All
I was
right,
going to say that too earlier. It's funny you bring that up.
what's
love that
next?
movie.
I thought
We
you were going
got-
to say Truly, Madly, Deeply.
That's a good movie too.
That's a
though.
great movie.
Okay, I think this is number 4. John, we're going to go back over to you when we hear from Fishflix Entertainment, Leo DiCaprio performance. Okay, so Wolf of Wall Street versus One Battle After Another.
Leonardo DiCaprio could very well win his second Academy Award this year. I think it's going to be Timothée Chalamet, but it could very well be him getting his second. It was brilliant. His performance in One Battle After Another was brilliant. But his performance in Wolf of Wall Street. I mean, okay, look, just for the scene alone of his memory, his recounting driving home, and then the actual event
Dude.
of him driving home.
Yeah.
Though his chemistry with why am I freezing on Margot Robbie? His chemistry with Margot Robbie, the way she had him wrapped around his finger and all.
I think that's the first time I've ever seen Margot Robbie was that movie.
You know what? He won his Academy Award for Revenant. Well deserved. I actually think Wolf of Wall Street might be his best performance. But anyway, so I'm going to go with Wolf of Wall Street. Rob, what about you?
100%. I mean, I like One Battle After Another, but I think it's a great film and his performance is stellar in it. But Wolf of Wall Street is one of the most fun movies ever made. You know, it's a Scorsese banger. You could probably, I think as a man, I could watch Goodfellas and Wolf of Wall Street every day as a double feature for a year and never get tired of either film. And his performance in Wolf of Wall Street. And it's so interesting to watch in the beginning when he's just starting out, you know, and I love that he goes in and he asks when he figures out that he gets 50% of whatever he makes at the investors group, and he does his first sale, like he's on the phone. That transition into the kind of character he's becoming, it's so brilliant. He's so brilliant in that movie. I every time I see a TikTok clip, speaking of TikTok, from that movie, I'll watch it. I can't get enough. And Jonah Hill too, by the way. Just
Jonah Hill's great.
Shout out. You show me.
He got an Oscar nomination for that film as well, I believe.
He is so good in that movie too.
His accent was spot on.
Oh my God. I'll come work for you.
All right, what's next?
Okay, Rob, we're going back over to you,
God, I love
and
Wolf
we're
of
going to
Wall
move on to Elijah's Vids duo. Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, or Yorgos Lanthimos, Emma Stone.
Okay, I love Emma Stone. You know, another one of those TikTok videos when something from Crazy Stupid Love shows up, I'll watch it.
Oh yeah, me too.
But it's bar none. It's Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. I mean, come on. You started your careers together. You'll probably end your careers together. I love them together. I love what they do. You know, fantastic. And I'm just, you know, I love Michael B. Jordan as an actor. You know, as a specimen of maledom. There's nothing he can't do. He directed a great movie and injected anime energy into Creed 3. But the two of them together, come on. I mean, a villain that does not get enough due is Killmonger. And Michael B. Jordan, I want to see Michael B. Jordan. If they ever remake New Jack City, I want to see Michael B. Jordan play the Nino Brown role. And I want Ryan Coogler to direct it because Michael B. Jordan is a ferocious villain. But it's got to be them all day, every day. Not to take away from Yorgos Lanthimos and the great work that they do.
Yeah, and listen, they made Yorgos and Emma Stone made one great movie with Poor Things.
Yeah.
That movie's awesome. I love it. But then they made Kinds of Kindness. But I'll say it just sucked.
Yeah,
I understand what they were going for. It was high concept, but it didn't work. And then they made Begonia, which did it get a nomination? I think it got a nomination for Best Picture, did it not? I think it was one of the 10.
I think so, yeah.
Which is very good.
I loved it.
Begonia is very good. But their batting average is not nearly as good as Ryan Coogler or Michael B. Jordan's. Starting with Fruitvale Station, The First Creed, Black Panther, Sinners, banger, 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 banger. They have, like, I'm not going to say they're Scorsese and De Niro yet, but they are becoming one of the best director-actor tandems in the business. So with all due respect to like Yorgos and Stone, who could go on to make 5 more great movies, for now, I think the better duo is Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan.
I mean, I can't. We had great performances with Leo and Timothée Chalamet, but to play 2 different roles, the way he played Smoke and Stack and Sinners, and the technical, the fact that you have to act against yourself, and the technical prowess it requires in order to pull off those scenes. As an actor, he's not just acting, and he's not just playing 2 different roles. He's acting while he has to not have himself there. I mean, there's so much that went into that
And
performance. Timing, everything. It's just astonishing. And they'd have to go back and do it again. And he would have to change his costumes. I mean, the mindset it took to do that role. Amazing.
I just think about the complication of matching the daylight and everything for all those
Oh, my
shots.
God.
All right, what's next?
Okay, here's our final one. When we hear from, this is going to go back to you, John, and we hear from The Multiverse is Broken, Marvel versus Star Wars on Disney Plus. We just covered a lot of Marvel on Disney Plus.
That's a good one. Both have had their hits. Both have had their misses. Marvel's got WandaVision. Star Wars has Andor. Marvel has Secret Invasion. Star Wars has The Acolyte. I think overall, when you balance it all out, I'm going to go with Star Wars has done the slightly better job on Disney Plus. And partially because Andor is just the best thing that Disney Plus has ever put on their service. I mean, as much as I love WandaVision, Andor is better, significantly better.
And collectively, aren't those seasons, they were 12 episodes long each, weren't they? So you have 24 episodes of Andor.
Or were they 10 and 12? I can't remember
No,
exactly
I think
how many episodes.
Because there were the blocks of 4 blocks of 3 episodes.
Okay, right.
So
Spanning 4
if you
years,
look
yeah.
at, and the length of those shows, so Andor alone is 24 episodes. So I think, or it's 22, but it's a lot, there's a lot more of Andor than any of the Disney Plus shows. So I'm gonna go with you on that.
Yeah.
Even though I've been very disappointed I've been less disappointed overall in the Disney Plus shows, even though than the Marvel shows that I was of Star Wars, but I've got to give it to it because of Andor.
Yeah, it's just like when you look at the middling stuff, because you also got the first couple of seasons of The Mandalorian, which were massively beloved, big hits, all that kind of stuff. I would say I would give the middling shows to Marvel, because when you're just talking about the middling shows like Obi-Wan and things like that versus middling shows like Falcon and the Winter Soldier or whatever, I'll kind of give a little bit of the nod to Marvel on that. But I think just overall, in a grand scheme of things, I think Star Wars has done a slightly better job on Disney Plus than Marvel has overall. Again, both have had their hits, both have had their misses, but I'll give the nod to Star Wars. Rob, what about you?
I mean, same thing. I mean, I'm going to give it to, because, the thing is, like, as much as I thought it was so stupid to put a young Princess Leia in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, there's still some cool scenes.
There are. There really are, yeah.
Whereas, to me, Moon Knight was, the misses in Marvel are bigger misses. There's less for me to enjoy in those shows than there are. I find something other than The Acolyte that I've liked in.
You know what funny saying, you know what I think is kind of the tipping one, because you got WandaVision, Ms. Marvel, you got Andor and Mandalorian. Then down the bottom, you got like your Acolyte and whatever. I think the tipping one for me is actually Skeleton Crew. I think Skeleton Crew's that kind of show for me that just tips the scales a little bit, because I really liked Skeleton Crew.
I did too. It was
So
good.
I think that one tips the scales a little bit towards Star Wars. All right. And guys, that'll wrap up today's version of Versus. Thank you so much to everybody who sent in their head-to-head matchups. Keep your guys' eyes open on the YouTube channel. We put out a call for submissions, and maybe you'll see your head-to-head matchup mentioned on our next round of Versus. All right, guys. With that down, Let's move on to this, shall we? You know, one of the most popular fantasy novels and series of novels out there today is the Stormlight Archive. I've had people, some of our viewers, writing to me for years saying, John, you got to get on the Stormlight. I got my brain on the boys. The Stormlight Archive. You got to get on the Stormlight Archive. And you got to watch it and Mistborn. You got to read it and Mistborn and all this kind of stuff. I think they call it the Cosmere is what they call the overall universe that they have it all in. Now, admittedly, I took my viewer's advice and I got the first one. I got the first Stormlight Archive book and I bailed on it after the first chapter. I'm like, this is all, I cannot follow any of it. And I've read fucking Dune. And I'm like, I can't follow it. So I kind of gave up on it. So I can say nothing good or bad about the Stormlight Archive because I never actually got through reading it. But you cannot deny its popularity. And Rob, one of the most landmark deals in novel to screen translation history has just been made. The Hollywood Reporter is telling us that Brandon Sanderson's literary fantasy universe, The Cosmere, has been picked up by Apple TV. It is an unprecedented deal for the author whose Mistborn series and the Stormlight Archive are being eyed for film and television respectively. And the deal he got is unlike anything that's ever been signed in history. The report in the Hollywood Reporter says this: could the next great fantasy screen franchise be here? Apple TV believes so. The streaming giant has closed what has been described as an unprecedented deal to land the rights to the Cosmere books, the fictional literary universe by fantasy author Brandon Sanderson. The first titles being eyed for adaptation are the Mistborn series for feature films and the Stormlight Archive for series for Apple TV+. The later already has producers involved, yada, yada, yada. But this is where we get into the deal. The deal is a rare one, coming after a competitive situation which saw Sanderson meet with most of the studio heads in town. It gives the author rarefied control over the screen translations according to sources. Sanderson will be the architect of the universe, will write, produce, and consult, but here's the big thing: will have final approvals. That's a level of involvement that not even J.K. Rowling or George R.R. Martin has enjoyed. He's going to be the designer of what comes on screen. He's going to write it himself for what comes on screen. And he gets final approval. He gets to say yes or no to things. Now, on the one hand, that's like the Puritans of the book will go, yes, the creator being in charge. I also want to caution you a little bit that some not very great things have sometimes happened when people who know nothing about live action screen adaptation work get to be in charge. Bad things can happen no matter how good they are at writing their books. So there's a little bit of a cautionary tale, but Rob, this speaks, I think, to the dedicated fan base, the ravenous fans that this Cosmere has, that a studio like Apple would be willing to say, yeah, not only are we going to give you truckloads of gold, we're also going to let you write all of it. Well, we would like you to write it. By the way, I have no idea if he's any good at writing screenplays or not, but we're going to let you write it. You're going to be a producer on it. You're going to consult, and you get approvals. That is a level of control and power that we have never seen, especially on this scale. And Rob, when you look at Apple TV Plus, it is becoming the home of great television, fantasy, and sci-fi.
Oh,
Whether it's like Foundation, For All Mankind, and
Silo.
they've got Silo and others.
Severance.
Severance. And now they're going to be doing this Cosmere things. This is unprecedented and impressive. Rob, you had a chance to look at this. I don't even know if you've read any of these books or not. But anyway, what do you think about this deal and the fact that he signed such a sweet one?
Well, I have to say, I have a friend in Sweden, and he goes by the name Stubble McShave online. He is the biggest Brandon Sanderson fan I know. And, Brandon Sanderson he's been crowdfunding his books. Like during the pandemic, he wrote 4 books and he crowdfunded them and made like $50 million on his crowdfund. It's insane. I mean, and his fan base is rabid, but Stumbling Shave's clearly his biggest fan. And he tells me all about Brandon Sanderson. So this does not surprise me because the amount of money, the fervent fan base he has, the fact that, look, Apple still, I watched the first 8 episodes of season 5 of For All Mankind last weekend. The fact that they can go 5 seasons and they have their spin-off series, Star City, which is coming out about the Russian side of things also, that they've kept the level of quality. And it's just, I think Foundation's Apple too, right?
Yeah.
So that show in its 3rd season was the best it's ever been. So it does not surprise me that Apple is making moves. I mean, they're quietly, they don't have the viewership of the other streaming services.
Because they don't have the quantity yet.
No, but they certainly have the quality.
Yeah.
And they know they're going after that science fiction, fantasy, and horror crowd because they know those people are loyal and that's where their core viewership is coming from. And they're shooting high. Even when they do a series like that, I want to say Bird Box, but it wasn't Bird Box. Blackbird.
Yeah.
The one with Taron Egerton.
Yeah.
That was great too. And that was
Paul
just
Walter
a limited.
Hauser.
Yeah, that was just a limited series. And this is a great move. I think it's a great move. You have the author involved. Now, authors are not always the best people to get involved in adaptations of their material because they're not familiar with it. But Brandon Sanderson, I've seen some interviews with him, and like he has a great. If you want to know how to build a universe, if you're a writer, he has a theory about his laws of using magic that I think every writer should read. I think this is a great move. I think it's a smart, canny move on the part of Apple. They know what's up, and they're gonna win. They're gonna win on this one. So, Brandon Sanderson took over Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time.
Right.
So he probably saw how things shouldn't be done, and now he probably has that experience of seeing it. So I think it's a great move on Apple's part. Very exciting.
Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Are you excited for Mistborn, for the Stormlight archive? The Cosmere is coming to Apple, movies and TV shows.
That's a great ad line, by the way. The Cosmere is coming.
It's coming, and it's all going to be mostly under the control of the guy who wrote it. And again, we have seen many times in history where that hasn't always gone well, but he's got it, and good for him for doing it. However you guys feel about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your comments and questions. But before we do, we're going to bid good afternoon to Robert Meyer Burnett. Great job as always, sir. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
And now let's head on over and start taking the questions you guys have been sending in, shall we? Jonathan, what we got up first?
All right. First up, we're going to hear from Wayne, who says, so excited about the Sanderson deal. I can't wait to see a Mistborn film series and a Stormlight show. Highly recommend both series for anyone interested. The first Mistborn book is a fantasy heist.
Again, I think this is going to be one where I'm just going to have to wait for for the movies in the series. Because I tried getting into the Stormlight archive. The first book was called Something of Kings or Kings of Something, Kings of Sweden. I don't know what it was called. And I'm like, after the first chapter, I'm like, I have no idea. This is like so convoluted, and I just kind of ditched out of it. And then I've had some people say, yeah. I had a whole bunch of readers of the Stormlight archive saying, yep, John, you're absolutely right. The first chapter and a half is kind of that. It is kind of drama, but you got to stick with it. And I just never got back into it. But I will look forward to seeing these adaptations. All right, what's next?
Kyle says, what are your thoughts on Train Dreams? I watched it recently and fell in love with it. One of my favorites of 2025.
I still never, I didn't even hear about it till a couple of weeks ago. So I have not had a chance to watch yet. I heard, but got awards nominations, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of kudos to them. Joel Edgerton, I think,
Yes.
has been lauded a lot for what he did in there, but I haven't seen it yet myself. All right, what's next?
Orange Hand. What's a bad movie that you think would have been a lot of fun to be involved in making? I think being a designer on the Star Wars prequels would have been cool. I guess it would have had to be like a digital designer because there was nothing physical there.
Yeah. I mean, listen. First of all, involved in the making of any movie is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I've been on a lot of sets of a lot of films, and I got to tell you, it's always been fun.
And you're always learning. You're always improving.
Yeah, so I can't really think of one off the top of my head, but if you ever do get a chance to be on set of a movie, it's a pretty cool environment, and take advantage of it if you do get that chance. All right, what's next?
We got Christopher, who says the Bills-Broncos game was a good playoff game to go to. Despite the controversial officiating, I've never seen a playoff game where both teams lost.
That's essentially what happened. Yeah, so Anna and I drove out to Denver to go watch the Bills play the Broncos. And you're right, both teams lost. It was the Bills lost because of a moronic coaching decision and some questionable officiating, but that can happen in every game. And then the Broncos lost because in the very last play of the game, their star quarterback broke his ankle and wasn't available for their next week's game, and now they're sitting at home just like the Bills. All right, what's next?
Crazy. Screenspeak says, John, Shrinking Season 3 starts, and it's amazing, and Season 4 has been greenlit already.
Yeah, I heard Season 4 has been greenlit. That should have been a no-brainer, and I cannot wait to start getting caught up on Season 3.
We got Cody Hunt with a two-parter. Simon's cynicism ran so deep that he couldn't believe even the people closest to him.
Just for people, he's talking about Wonder Man.
Oh, yeah. Would go to bat for him. He had no friends, a contentious relationship with his brother, and an abrupt breakup behind him. But when it mattered most, they showed him love and acceptance. It really got to me.
Yeah, again, there are no superhero battles. There's no superpowered fights. It's a character thing, and it's really good. That's why I said on the show the other day that other than Eternals, which Rob and I both also really quite like, other than Eternals, Wonder Man is the most non-Marvel-like Marvel production I've ever seen. And it really worked on that level. All right, what's next?
We got Bobby Jackson. Yesterday you said Rip should have been in theaters, but I appreciate that Netflix released a quality movie on their service and not more crap.
Yeah, but they took away any big impact the movie can have because already people aren't talking about Rip anymore.
Yeah.
Like we all talked about Rip the first 3 or 4 days it was out, and not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, yes, it's great that out of all the unbelievable heaps of dung and garbage that Netflix puts out as far as their original movies, only about 1 out of every 50 is any good. It's nice that they have a good one, but this is one that should have been in the theaters. It would have had a bigger pop cultural impact. It would have had a bigger, longer footprint. It would have made more money, and then it could have gone to Netflix and been even bigger on Netflix, but yeah, I stand by it. It should have gone to theaters. Rip should have been in theaters. All right, what's next?
We got Alfredo, who says, "Hi, John. What kind of production gear will you be using to pull off your CinemaCon coverage this year? Last year's setup was cool."
Not sure yet. I haven't really started thinking about it. I mean, we will have to start thinking about it soon, but still like 3 months away. So I'll start thinking about that probably sometime next month.
We got Bobby Jackson. Between Shang-Chi and the co-creator on Wonder Man, really looking forward to what Destin Daniel Cretton was as cooking for Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Yeah, you know what? It
That
wasn't
makes
until I was
two of
watching
us.
episode 1 is like directed by Destin, and I'm like, I totally forgot he did this. Dude, Destin knows how to cook, man. I mean, what he did with Shang-Chi was fantastic. What he was able to pull off with him and his team with Wonder Man. And he's the guy giving us Spider-Man Brand New Day. I've got a lot of faith in him. Of course, I've always kind of hoped that we would have seen John Watts come back because he did a great job with the first 3. But to get fresh eyes and a fresh perspective in the director's chair is never a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that it's Destin, now that we've seen what he's done in Marvel with Shang-Chi and now Wonder Man, can't wait to see what he does with Spider-Man. All right, what's next?
Bobby Jackson, did you notice the billboard in Wonder Man that said Rogers the Musical, now a major motion picture? I wonder what actors in the MCU world are in the movie version of the musical.
I definitely saw the billboard, but I didn't realize it said now a major motion picture. I didn't
you thought it was
realize
good for the
that.
stage play?
Yeah, because they walk on the studio lot, there's this big billboard, Rogers the Musical.
Yeah.
And I just assumed that was just for Rogers the Musical that they
Right.
had alluded to in Hawkeye. I didn't realize that it also said now a major motion picture. Now I'm curious. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that episode to see the billboard again. All right, what's next?
DJ Info says, near Christmas, we were late to the cinema for our movie, so we watched Eternity instead. Because I went in blind, I didn't know what to expect. The moment when you realize the...
Never mind. Stop. Yeah, got to catch that. You can't. Yeah, sorry. Can't do that. Anyway, all right. What's next?
We got Mate who says, from what you know, does Doomsday explain why Thor's hair is short again?
I'm not going to answer any of that stuff.
That's kind of a funny question. I mean, doesn't it explain why he got a haircut?
If I go 4 years in between seeing you, chances are your hair is going to look a little bit different than the last time I saw you.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. What's next?
Doom used his Doom magic and cut his hair. Hey, John, this is Wayne. Hey, John, if you decide to try reading Way of Kings again, I do recommend you try the ebook / physical. The first chapters throw you into the world, but it pays off, which we've heard.
That's what people kept telling me. But you know what? It's too late. In the words of Vader, it is too late for me. I will not be reading it. I will wait for the show and the movie, and then I will let that be my first experience with it. So, yeah, we're at that point now. All right, what's next?
DJ has a two-part. Says, please weigh in on our current family debate. If Batman had been sold to Sony like Spider-Man, who would it have hurt more? The arguing points are Batman is more crucial to the Justice League. The MCU has shown it's successful without Spider-Man. DC could put Green Arrow in Bat's role in movies, like they did on TV.
You can't try to compare with what success is on CW with what would have been a success in a major motion picture. Look, the difference between Spider-Man, who you can't argue with Spider-Man's popularity, but Spider-Man has never been seen as the center pin of the Marvel universe, right? He's one of the most popular characters they have, but he's never been seen as kind of like an anchor figure of that universe. Batman is. Like, you can't have a Justice League without Batman. You can have an Avengers without Spider-Man. You can do all that kind of stuff, but Batman is just too pivotal of an anchor point. It's almost like in the DC universe, all roads lead to Batman. And so because of that, that's a character, if you're DC, you can't part ways with or afford to be able to part ways with. Marvel, you could. And they did. They built their cinematic universe without Spider-Man. I don't think you can do that without Batman if you're DC. All right, what's next?
Matt at the movies. Just watched The Fablemans for the first time. Really enjoyed it. Really connected with the kid in the first scene with the sense of awe and wonder of watching and falling in love with movies.
Dude, that movie is fucking fantastic. The Fablemans is fantastic. It is such a love letter to the love of movies. It's so good. And you're right. That whole opening thing when the kid is like, you see him falling in love with the art and falling in love with telling stories and falling in love with the magic of movies. That movie's so great. I'm not saying it should have won Best Picture of the Year, but I mean, it was just so good. And yet another reason why Steven Spielberg is, without question and without rival or peer, he is the greatest movie maker of all time. All right, what's next?
We got, let's see, sorry. DJ Infa has a two-parter here. Did I miss it? Hang on. Oh, just watch Mercy. That's a Chris Pratt movie, right? Enjoyed it, but not as good as Minority Report. It didn't look as good as Minority Report. My girlfriend said to ask you, do you think it's strange when actors play characters with the same name? Because Chris Pratt was called Chris in the film. We know the script comes before the actor, but surely that's a simple fix.
What do you mean fix?
Like, yeah, I don't think it matters. Like, okay, the characters.
Why does it matter?
There's some movies where I've been like, oh, that's funny. That's his actual name. But it's like, who cares?
It happens. What's the blue moon? I mean, the real question is, why would you have to change it?
Yeah.
Like, quick fix. Fix what? What is broken? No, I've never once has that ever distracted me from the movie or anything like that. No, you don't need to change it. The character's name's Chris and Chris Hemsworth plays it. You can keep the name Chris. I mean, it doesn't, who cares? Anyway, that's kind of my take on it at any rate. All right, what's next?
I think this is the last one. This is kind of interesting, though. But DJ asks, if you were an actor asked to play twins in a lead role, from much like Sinners, for a movie, would you ask for extra money, double? No, not double, but more. It's double work.
No, it's not. Who says it's double the work? There's a movie called Buried with Ryan Reynolds where he's literally every scene of the movie. You can't be in anything more than every scene of the movie. So, no, it's all one performance. So no, you don't get paid any extra for playing twins because it's not double the work. It's all one performance.
Right.
And in this scene, you're doing this with the performance. And in this scene, you're doing something different with the performance, but it's not double the work. And all right, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. We're cutting today's show a little bit short because I've got an early viewing today of the new Send Help with Rachel McAdams, which I cannot wait to go see. As soon as we're wrapped up here, I'm going to be heading out the door to go to a screening of it. Very excited for you guys. I know a lot of you guys are probably going to be going to see it today as well. Very stoked for it. Thanks so much for making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the questions. Number one, because you give us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you so much for your support. Big thanks again, of course, to Robert Meyer Burnett, our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
See you guys later.
My name is John Campea, and until tomorrow, my friends, bye-bye.